Check this out, right? This is Wally. Is he relevant to today's video? Not at all. And I got this from a friend of mine. Anyway, today we're going to be making one of these. Let's find out how. Hey everyone, welcome back to Life at Laz. It actually occurred to me recently that I haven't said my name on this channel yet, which is kind of awkward, so I'll take the opportunity now to do that. My name is Dowdy, and some of you might know me as Lucas, Laz, etc., but my preferred name moving forward now is Dowdy. And today, we're going to learn how to make a simple version of one of these, a calculator. So let's find out how to do that. Just a few quick reminders before we get into the depths of the program. The first one is I've got my GitHub in the description below, which has my program examples and exercises from Stephen Kochan's Programming in C book, the 6th edition, as well as my Notion page, which has my amalgamation of a note-taking process specifically for programmers and computer engineers. And it has all of the notes for the Programming in C book, so feel free to look into that. The second reminder is my language moving forward in this video. I'm primarily going to be languaging myself for the beginner, so someone who doesn't know anything about coding at all, you can open up your terminal, start writing this code, this program, and at the end of it you'll have a calculator. So with that being said, let's start. Alright, so I've got the calculator program here. I've already done it before, but we're going to take a quick look at this and then we're going to do it again. I've got it up on GitHub and I believe I have it in my Notion link as well in chapter 6. Dives into case statements and if statements, but we'll get into that in a second. So to start everything off here, also let me know if you want me to do a video on PomaFocus. It's something that I use for task management, specifically when I'm doing coding stuff. So let me know if you want a video on that. So, beginners. Include Studio. I like to think of this as my digital toolbox. So everything from screwdrivers, drills, hammers, all the tools that I need to make a program run, this studio.h is the toolbox that holds all of those programs, or those tools rather. The tools manifest as functions like printf, scanf, etc. And we're about to get into those functionalities now. Before we get into the functions though, real quick, int main is the starting line of the program. That's how I like to think of it. I actually ran track in senior year of high school, so I think of int main as the starting line for the program because when we go to compile it, the compilation is going to begin at int main. After that, I've established 3 variables, and I'll get to why in a minute. Int accumulator, int number 2, and char ASMD. So accumulator is essentially the first number that we type in for the calculator. Number 2 is the second number. Character is the operator, or the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division symbols. So in the beginning, I've put a printf function, so something from our toolbox, just to make sure that when I compile it, that it's working to begin with. This is a practice that I've taken just to make sure that whatever program I'm writing works to some degree, and when it comes to debugging, I have some point to start at. Scanf here takes the input from the user and then does the calculation. So think of this scanf as holding space for the user to type in those numbers and those operators. So for example, it could be 8 plus 8 or whatever math it is. Now here's where the creative freedom comes in when it comes to programming. So for creating the calculator in particular, I chose to use a switch statement over an if statement because 1, I don't have much experience with switch statements. I've seen if statements before and I've used them before. So I wanted to explore the usability of a switch statement. In chapter 6 of programming in C, Stefan goes into the differences between the if statement and the switch statement. And for this case in particular, I chose to use the switch statement because it's a bit simpler. And also it was outside of my comfort zone. So fundamentally speaking, what we're doing with the switch statement is something along the lines of this. We'll explain it with this kind of verbal algorithm. In the case that the user types in the addition symbol, we print this message here with this value right here that we're referencing being the sum, which is the accumulator they type in, plus number 2. In the case they type in that subtraction symbol, this message comes up with the relevant math being done. Same thing for multiplication, same thing for division. All right, now that we've got a general idea of what the code is doing, let's take a jab at it for ourselves. Let's create a file called calculator.c. We're going to include that toolbox that we need that has the printf and the scanf. We're going to draw our starting line because we're track stars. And we're going to initialize the 3 variables that we want the user to type in. So the first one is going to be int accumulator. Second one is int number 2. And the third one is a character for the ASMD. For addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Now that we have this, again, this is my personal preference of typing in a message. I'm going to put, hey there user, type in all the maths, because that's what I want them to do. Something I also like doing too is keeping comments that list out what I was thinking and why I did what I did. So, and the goal at each step of the program. Over here, we're going to hold space for the user to enter that math. So we're going to do that with scanf. And again, that comes from the Studio H library. So scanf, we're going to do integer, the first integer with the only character, and the second integer. Whoops. And then we're going to put a new line at the end of that. So that backslash with the n just means a new line, and that when we compile it and the user types in those numbers in the character, it'll skip to a new line just to make it look neat. And in order to tell the program which number is which and what character is which, we have to do this. Add the ampersand symbol with accumulator, ASMD, and num2. I'm actually going to compile it real quick just to make sure I'm not doing something incorrectly. GCC to compile, -o, or wait, sorry, GCC calculator.c. -o means that we can name the executable file something else aside from calculator.c. So I'm just going to name it calculator. And then when that's done, we can do, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for, I think. Yeah, I think this will fix what I was concerned about. Yeah, it did. Okay. Okay, now that that's done, we can move on to the switch case part. So we establish that switch statement, and we say ASMD because what we're essentially telling the program is that out of these 4 options that we have, if it's addition, do this. If it's subtraction, do this. If it's multiplication, do this. If it's division, do this. So in the case that the character is addition, put the colon, not the semicolon. You'll get an error for that. Printf, the sum of your entry is And we'll also throw in that new line just to make it look neat. Similar to the scanf up top with the accumulator and the number 2 in the ASMD, we're going to add the arithmetic to the plus case at the end. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to do accumulator, whoops. We're going to do accumulator plus number 2. And what this is saying to the program is the number that's being referenced right here, this percent or this number sign I, it's basically saying whatever the output of that is, it's going to be accumulator plus number 2, which is something that the user puts in. And we're just going to repeat this for subtraction, multiplication, and division, except with their appropriate signs. After this, we put break. Break basically means that once it's done executing that, if it's a plus statement, if it's addition, then it'll just skip to the other one. Or if it's not addition, it'll skip to the other one as well. So if it is subtraction, if the user put in a number minus a number, the difference of your entry is this number, new line, and then we do accumulator minus number 2. Now I'm running out of space here, so something that I can do is end it short right here. Whoops. What's going on here? Okay, yeah. Cut it short right here. Continue the printf statement. The difference of your entry is %I, new line, and then that integer is accumulator minus number 2. That's the arithmetic that will form that integer. So we do break after that. We made a little mistake. There we go. And we essentially do the same thing for multiplication and division. So this is what it's going to look like. For this, the asterisk is going to be multiplication. So we use that. Say the product of your entry is, and we're going to do the same thing we did before because it's most likely going to cut off early. %I, new line, and then accumulator with that case that we used up top, number 2. All right, last case, we've got division. So / colon, printf, the quotient of your entry is %I with that new line. And like the others, we add the arithmetic after it. Number 2. Yep, okay. And then we add break. And outside of this bracket for the switch statement, we're going to add return 0. This will basically tell us if the program is even running or not. All right, so here's how we compile this program and get it running. Period / whatever the name of your file is. Now we get the message that we typed in earlier. So let's run through the 4 that we had: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we'll do 9 plus 10. Whoops. Sum of our entry is 19. Let's do subtraction next. We'll do 20 minus 19. Difference of our entry is 1. Oh, you know why it's having us type it in twice? I think it's because of the new line. Yeah, it's because of the new line. We're going to remove that. I'm going to recompile it because it works. It's just behaving a bit differently. It's doing exactly what I told it to. That's the annoying thing about programming. Let's recompile. And now we can get started on that again. So we've got our message. Let's do multiplication. We'll do 9 times 8. Oh, wait. What's going on here? There we go. That was weird. Yeah, the product of our entry is 72. That's awesome. Now, last but not least, we've got division. So we'll do 63 divided by 9. Quotient is 7. We've got a calculator. You, my friend, are a genius. I'm going to start calling you Laser from now on because life at Laz, Laser. I think it sounds good. It sounds appropriate. Seriously though, we have our calculator and now we can just open up our own executable and run some simple math. All in all, lasers, I really hope you appreciated this video. This is my first time doing a project-oriented video, so let me know how I did. Let me know how my language was, if it was simple enough, and if you appreciated the background I gave to my conceptualized way of thinking about it. Yeah, and give me critiques, can be constructive. You know, give me feedback. I really do listen to that sort of stuff, and I'm receptive to that. Feel free to check out my GitHub as well, in addition to the Notion that I've linked in the description. With that being said, lasers, I'll catch you later. Peace.